Okay, I'm back and we're continuing to talk about the formation of the solar system. So we're going to experiment number 2. So for this one, you're going to need a revolving chair, like a office chair. So any kind of a chair that you can spin in, or really any kind of a platform that you can stand on that spins, that will work okay as well. So you're going to sit in the chair and you need a couple of dumbbells or a couple of bags of sugar. Doesn't really make any difference what you use as long as they're heavy. So you're going to sit in the chair, you're going to hold your arms out with the 2 bags of sugar or the dumbbells, and then somebody is going to spin you in the chair, and then as you're spinning, you're going to then bring your arms in to your chest. And I want you to observe what happens to your rotational speed when you do that. So, and then try to think about what has this got to do with the formation of the solar system. All right, now experiment number 3. So this one requires some assembly. You need some kind of a tube. So it could be a toilet paper tube if you want. It could be a paper towel tube. It could be, just a garden hose tube. So anything that makes a tube, you can use it for this experiment. You're going to need a piece of string. I would say about 4 feet long ought to do it. You could probably get by with 3 feet on it. And then on one end of your piece of string, you're going to tie some washers. So maybe about 6 washers ought to do. It doesn't have to be washers, so you could tie it to a box of Jello if you want to, as long as it's got some weight to it. Okay, then thread that piece of string through the tube and then tie it to hopefully something soft, okay, because you might hit yourself in the head with this apparatus. So if you got like a rubber ball that you could tape the other end of the string to, that might be a good thing to do. So attach the string. You could tie it, you could tape it with duct tape, but anyway, attach it to a rubber ball. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to grab it by the tube, and then you're going to start to spin it so that ideally that rubber ball is going to start to go around your head. Not into your head, but around your head. And then what I want you to do is vary the speed at which it's going around your head, and then see if you can lift that box of Jello or the washers or whatever that you attached to the bottom of the string. Okay? So what you're going to find is that if you do it at a certain speed, then the ball is going to go outwards, and then the box of Jello or the washers is going to go up. And then if you do it at a different speed, the exact opposite is going to happen. The ball is going to be drawn towards the tube, and then the washers or the box of Jello is going to drop. Okay? And so again, try to figure out what does this have to do with the formation of the disk and the solar system. Okay, now we're going to go to experiment number 4. Okay, now for this one, it says that you need a thermometer. Well, you really don't. You do not need a thermometer for this experiment, so we're going to modify it. So what you can do is get a skillet, put it on your electric stove or your gas stove, put it on your stove. Okay, now you're going to need 2 substances to put into the skillet. So I would recommend butter, and then you need something else that melts at a different temperature. In lab, we use wax, but you can see that if you melt wax in your skillet, you're going to have to scrape it out afterwards. So another way of doing this without using your skillet is if you use a tin can. So take a tin can, empty it out, wash it out, and then that way if you ruin the tin can, you just throw it away, okay? If you don't want to use a good skillet for this. But you need two substances that melt at different temperatures. I've used chocolate before, and I've used butter, so you might be able to think of something else that two substances that melt at different temperatures. You're going to put them both in the pan or the tin can. You're going to turn up the heat and you're going to time it. So instead of measuring the temperature at which they melt, measure the amount of time it takes them to start melting. So as soon as you turn on the heat, click your stopwatch or use your cell phone, and then when you see the first type of material beginning to melt, record the time, and then when you see the other one start to melt, record the time. So this way you don't actually, you're not going to be measuring the temperature like it does in the lab. You're going to be measuring the time it takes for it. So the longer the time, the higher the temperature. Okay, now once you know how they melt, you're going to fill in the chart there. And you notice it's got a inner ring around the sun, and then it's got an outer ring around the sun. Now one of those is going to be an ice line, and then the other one is going to be a rock line. So one of those circles is the ice line, and one of them's the rock line. So you got to figure out which one is which. And then you're going to figure out region 1, region 3, and region 5. So one of those regions is a region in which either a rocky or a planet made of ice could exist. One of those is going to be a region in which neither kind of planet could exist. And then one of those is going to be a region in which only rocky planets can survive. Okay, remember the sun is very hot. Okay, then you're going to write down which of your substances, so it depends on what two substances that you chose, is going to represent the icy planet and which one is going to represent a rocky planet. So just think about ice melts at a certain temperature, rock melts at a certain temperature. So match that up with the substances that you used. Okay, so do that lab, and then when we come back, we're going to do another one.